Oh man, that's me. That's me full screen. Oh no. Yeah, that
I
was
mean, I
great,
could
Tyler. I really
unspotlight you if you prefer.
no. It's fine. It's fine. I'll just not make eye contact with myself. Yeah, Tyler, that was amazing. That was a really great talk. And I appreciate that it had green balloons. You updated it.
Thanks
So
for
yeah,
noticing, Zach.
the possum drawings were incredible too. I know you probably drew those yourself. So yeah, that's great. So I think maybe just a level set. I could give a little retro of what has happened over the last week and 2 days. Last Tuesday, we launched a Kickstarter for Eleventy that is pivoting as part of a larger thing to be named Build Awesome. And the reason that we're doing this is because it is, I believe, the best way forward to have a sustainable future for the project. Now, if folks are familiar with Eleventy, and the project goes back probably 8 years now, we've had a bunch of different funding models over the years. For about, I want to say 14 or 16 months, I was full-time funded by Netlify to work on Eleventy. And this was in sort of like the zero interest rate phenomenon era, back in like 2021, 2020, in that time frame. And yeah, I think a lot of projects were sort of getting money donated by larger venture capital firms to have full-time maintenance. And I think a fair number of projects uh, moved under the Vercel umbrella in that era. And I don't think that is a future that I wanted for me personally. Um, and when the Font Awesome folks approached me, and I had seen their track record with the shoelace pivot to Web Awesome and how they made a sustainable future for the Font Awesome project, it seemed like a no-brainer. Now, over the last 9 days, I think that I've made a lot of communication mistakes in terms of how it was uh, broadcast to the community. And so, yeah, I just have to take ownership of that. It was a little, especially late in terms of how long it took me to get a blog post on the official Eleventy blog. That was sort of a very bad mistake on my part. I think I didn't get one up till Friday. And even then, it was sort of end of day. I was really struggling to keep up with the feedback. I was trying to reply to all the feedback individually. I should have been a little bit more prepared or taken some time out from that week to have a better blog post ready to go. But I was just drowning a little bit in feedback last week. So I do appreciate the feedback that I've gotten. I think a lot of it has been very constructive, and I'm sort of taking that forward and using that because we are relaunching the Kickstarter. Now, I don't even think I went into sort of why we stopped the Kickstarter. We did a Kickstarter for a couple days, and our mailing list sort of crapped the bed, just so to speak. And a lot of our communications were going to spam. And now the reason that I joined Font Awesome, and this is maybe a nuance of this whole situation that hasn't been understood more widely, is that Font Awesome is a small company with a very large project. They have a very large ecosystem and a very large community. And compared to the 11 community, they're much bigger. And so even when we launched the Kickstarter last Tuesday, a lot of folks came through in the Font Awesome community, folks that didn't get a spam email and got it delivered to their inbox. The first reaction was, what is Eleventy? A lot of them didn't have any idea what the project was. And that was, I think, an important learning for us when shipping the Kickstarter is that internally, and to Font Awesome's credit, they thought Eleventy was known by everyone. And I think internally in the Eleventy community, a lot of folks think the same. And I think that's a learning for me and a learning for the other folks at the Font Awesome company as well, is that this project is now being attached to a much larger audience and a much larger community, and we're able to grow the scope in a bigger way and deliver more features via a pro tier. And that the theory is that that will feed back into the open source project as well and let the rising tide of the pro tier grow the free product. And so with that in mind, the rename makes a lot more sense to me. And it's even hard to go against the rename from Eleventy to Build Awesome because the Awesome brand is what we're sort of attaching to. And a lot of folks in the Awesome community don't know what Eleventy is, which is hard to, I guess, it's sort of an ego death for me, but that's part of it. And moving forward, a year from now, when Build Awesome is a fully fledged product on its own and Build Awesome Pro is a premium tier on top of that, does it make sense to continue to explain to folks in that community what Eleventy is? If we didn't rename, I would be explaining what it is a year from now to a lot more people. So I am taking full ownership of the rename and the sort of shock that went through the community in terms of that. But it is, again, I think, the best path forward for the future of the project in terms of sustainability. Because again, WebAwesome has a team of folks working on it right now. And that was birthed from the Shoelace project, which was its own independent thing. So all that to be said, I'm sure I didn't prepare this statement or anything. This was just kind of off the cuff. So I'm sure I missed some pieces. And yeah, I'm happy to answer questions about it and take ownership of any negative feedback that folks have, because I definitely made some mistakes over the last week in terms of how it was communicated. So with that said, I'll just, I guess, open the floor, and if folks have questions, they can, yeah, ask them now. Unmute is fine.
I'll start. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, so I did a whole lot of reading about the Font Awesome company, and it looks like an amazing place filled with talented people. And it looks, what blew my mind was looking at when the Font Awesome 5 Kickstarter raised over $1 million with 35,000 backers. I was kind of blown away. And as of 2016, they even say that their icons were used on over 70 million sites. So they have obviously a large community.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, part of my question, so I saw Eleventy version 4, will that come out as the first Build Awesome V4? Are those, and do you have a timing target on that?
Yeah, so Build Awesome 4 will be Eleventy version 4. And the best thing that I can do at this point is to offer maximum compatibility. So I do plan to maintain existing build commands and existing packages even. So if folks have projects using Eleventy, they will still be able to use that same package. I think the biggest change for folks is going to be that the docs will look different. And I'm hoping to add some Easter eggs there too. Still show the Eleventy build commands that were available previously. So I'm trying to do as much backwards compatibility as I can and compatibility moving forward with Eleventy plugins and the ecosystem. So I hope, my goal is for the practical code that you need to change in your projects to be very little, and to keep the same compatibility moving forward that folks have come to expect from major breaking changes in the ecosystem previously. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, I'm trying to keep the existing stuff in place so that folks can keep using it. But the docs will sort of prefer the build awesome nomenclature and the packages moving forward.
Is there, do you have any visibility on timing of the relaunch of the Kickstarter at this point?
Yeah, we're still testing our email list. So if folks are subscribed to the Font Awesome email list, they may have seen some test emails come in over the weekend. And so we're still sort of waiting to see what the open and read rates for those are. But again, I would expect it to be within the next month or two. And that's why I think it was important that we had that pre-launch page for the next Kickstarter in place when we canceled the previous one so that folks could subscribe to it. And if you go to the Eleventy website right now, if you click the Build Awesome balloon at the top, it'll take you to the Kickstarter.
I'll keep going if I could. So, it looks like you're doing a browser-based web builder in effect. I don't want to
Yeah.
equate it to Squarespace or Webflow or Wix or anything like that. But one of my questions is, are the Web Awesome components part of the story, perhaps combining? I noticed that the islands architecture talked about V5 of Eleventy. Is that sort of where that's going? You're going to build in some of the WebAwesome components as part of this as a
Uh,
builder, or no?
yeah, I don't know what comment you're referencing about version 5, but I will say that as part of the Build Awesome Pro experience, it will be a website that you can go to without running a single terminal command line, and you can create one of our starter templates. And yes, some of those will have WebAwesome components built in for sure.
Okay.
But that is a completely decoupled thing from Build Awesome and the Eleventy project as it currently stands. So Build Awesome and Eleventy are the local developer experience, and Build Awesome
Sure.
Pro will be the sort of website that you can go to create a new website without any technical knowledge.
Will the V5 reference, by the way, was on the Eleventy docs in the islands architecture page? You might want to go look at that. It refers to
Oh, that
that
might,
kind of coming as V5.
yeah, that might refer to the islands utility specifically has a V5 pre-release out
Oh,
right now.
okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, sorry, maybe it wasn't clear on the docs. I'll make a note to check.
There's questions that have come up in the chat, so maybe we should go to
Yeah,
some
go
of them.
ahead.
I think
I
Bob
appreciate you, Bob.
Rockefeller.
I will yield my time.
Happy to answer Bob questions anytime.
Well, there's another Bob question.
Oh, two
A
Bobs.
different Bob.
Oh, geez.
What will the developer experience for Build Awesome be compared to Eleventy? So Build Awesome again will be Eleventy version 4. So the free and open source version will not change. The commands that you run can change if you want them to change and use the new nomenclature and the new packages. But again, we're going to maintain both for a while. So I'm trying to do as much compatibility as I can for folks already using Eleventy and still using Eleventy. So it shouldn't change. Nothing should change if you don't want it to change. If folks want to opt into the new Build Awesome packages, they can do that. And we'll, again, handle this through the upgrade helper. We already have an upgrade helper plugin officially that we manage for major version changes and to help folks migrate to the project, and we'll surface optional package renames at that point. Let me see. I've already built website projects with Eleventy v4 Alpha. Will be a smooth migration to Build Awesome 4. Yeah, I think I answered that one. We'll have both for a while. And I would imagine that we'll have both for as long as v4 exists. V5 might have a breaking change for the Eleventy packages, but I haven't made a decision on that yet. I freaking love WebC. Will there be more or less same focus on WebC in the awesome world? WebC recently got some maintenance love after being neglected for a while. And I don't know how to answer, will they be more or less the same? I'm hoping that there will be more, but I don't think that there can be less. Just to answer that question. But yeah, I think I had a good round of maintenance on that project, but I don't know that I did a stable release on it yet. But if you use the pre-releases for that, I would consider those to be pretty good. I just need to cut a release for them. There's sort of a convention that Eleventy plugins be named Eleventy plugins so that they're easy to search for on NPM. Is there a new recommendation for the new name? I haven't settled on a convention for that moving forward, but again, we're going to have compatibility with all of the existing Eleventy plugins moving forward. And you'll be able to continue using Eleventy plugins with Build Awesome in perpetuity. That's not something that I would ever expect to break in V5 or V6 or V7. So yeah, I guess that's how I would answer that. Thank you for the explanation. Does the merge with the Font Awesome team mean there are going to be more people being paid to work on the project in addition to you? So that is a very good question. I think that is predicated on how well the Kickstarter does. And so that is a possibility. But I won't be able to answer that until after the Kickstarter finishes. So yeah, maybe more to be announced there, but I can't say yet. You mentioned how there is now a team working on WebAwesome. In time, will something quicker update releases, or is that more towards WebAwesome Pro only? No, I wouldn't say that that's only towards Build Awesome Pro only. I've already had some internal help from a developer at Font Awesome that's been doing some maintenance help for the open source plugins in the Eleventy community as well. So there was sort of a long-standing issue with our import plugin that folks were sort of wanting some movement on. And I did get help from there's a gentleman named Ed that works on Font Awesome that reviewed that PR, and we got a new version of the import plugin shipped with their help. So I'm already receiving some help internally. So hopefully that will move forward and help speed up releases in the open source packages as well. I have a question that could be seen as tangentially related to Christians. If there will be new ownership stewardship, is there a risk of LLM generated code entering the code base? I appreciated that it seemed to remain free of that so far, given the legal and security risks that seem to come with it. Also appreciate Zach's remark about wanting to avoid going the Vercel direction. I personally do not use LLM generated code. I have seen one PR on Eleventy Core that I suspected was AI generated, and it was okay. And I think I ended up like changing all of the code before I merged it in. So I don't know what the ramifications of that are. I don't even know if it was AI generated. It just the vibes of it were a little bit off. So I did end up have to like rewrite a bunch of the stuff before I merged it in. So I don't know how to answer that question. As far as I know, there is no LLM generated code in Eleventy right now. I suspect that maybe one PR had maybe a line of code that was LLM generated that got rewritten before it got merged. So I don't know. Yep, that's maybe the best way that I can answer that question. Let's see. Will there be changes to how open the project and adjacent is to outside contributions? That's a good question. I don't, just internally, when I hear that question, I don't really consider Eleventy core to be incredibly open to outside contributions, in that I've had to close a few big PRs that were more maintenance than they were worth. And so if you're going to submit contributions to Eleventy or Eleventy projects, try to keep them small because the bigger the PR, the harder it is to merge. And that's maybe why we haven't accepted any LLM generated stuff, because a lot of those PRs are huge and unwieldy and difficult to manage, or difficult to like review. So I would say, yes, I'm just as open to outside contributions as before, but they just need to be small and easy to review. So yeah, I don't know if maybe that isn't an acceptable answer to that, but I'm happy to field follow-up questions if folks want more information. Yes, yeah, I'm okay. The last week has been a ride, a wild ride. But I think that I could have made it easier on myself if I had done things a little bit differently, a little bit better. So I have some responsibility for that, obviously. And the only thing I can do is learn from it and move forward and try and do better with my communication. I know it's maybe like a cliche that a developer is bad at communication, but here I am. I'm doing my best. And yep, that's all I can do. Oh, to Jason, to your point, we don't actually send mail through fonawesome.com. Oh, we do send it from m.fonawesome.com. I don't know. Maybe I'll talk to you offline. But we are warming up a new email domain, awesome.me, to send stuff to folks. But if you see something wrong, I would love to hear it.
Yeah, it looks like there are some things that some records that are missing that would prevent delivery from those domains. So yeah. Anyways,
I know our internal developer that's working on that project has set up a lot of those configurations, so I would be surprised, but yeah, I'll maybe double check with them to make sure that everything's configured correctly. But
yeah, no worries.
We'll see. How will FonAwesome support the project or the community with marketing? For example, will they pick up the mantle on this Eleventy meetup? That's a good question. I don't want to take away from Sia's excellent I don't want to say tutelage, shepherding of the Eleventy meetup over the years. In the same way, I'm just so thankful to folks that have contributed community resources like this. It's been a real boon to the project and helpful even to communication, maybe shortcomings that I have in terms of, I messaged Sia yesterday and I was like, oh, can I still be added to this meetup to do a Q&A? And so I, again, am just super thankful for all the contributions over the years, and it has been a huge boon to the project. So there is definite value, of course, in keeping the meetup going. But I think more to be announced there. I don't want to make any promises or even take away from Sia's excellent work and the celebration, I think, that is this last meetup. Wide question, but how can the existing Eleventy community help from now on? I think the biggest thing is to help promote the Kickstarter, the upcoming Kickstarter. There is sort of, I don't want to say a lot riding on it, because it isn't, I wouldn't consider it to be like a make or break thing for the project, but it is kind of a big deal in terms of how successful the project can be moving forward. So the more support we get on the Kickstarter, the better. I would say if you are an open collective supporter, and even if you have an active open collective support, moving that to Kickstarter would be huge. So if you do still feel willing to support the project monetarily, the Kickstarter is the best place to do it moving forward. Let's see. Again, Font Awesome is a small company, and the Kickstarter was, a lot of the organization around the Kickstarter was my project. So to say that Font Awesome shares some responsibility, that is also me. I am the employee of Font Awesome as well. So, okay. Do you still own the rights to Eleventy if the Awesome team hypothetically decides to stop supporting the development for Build Awesome? What would happen? That is a difficult question to answer around intellectual property. I do not think that I individually own the rights to the project. But if at any point there is an issue and a larger problem happens, which again, I do not foresee, because even over the last 18 months, I'm already past sort of the donation time frame that I saw from previous contributors. And so they've already put more into the project than any other company has, and they already have invested in the project in terms of a sustainable, symbiotic future. The Build Awesome project will contribute to their bottom line, and I think that's the best way forward. But yes, that was the escape hatch that was discussed. Forking as 12T or 10T or 13T at some point could be an appropriate escape hatch if the project is no longer, I guess, sustainable under the Awesome banner. But again, this is my full-time job. So I am dedicated to making this work, and I'm working full-time to make the open source project work and the pro tier work as well. So I guess that's the path forward. And again, this goes back to the sustainable funding is the reason that I thought this was a good idea, and I thought this was the best path forward, is that I've tried all of the other funding models. Like I tried to go independently sustainable. I tried to go for contributions, and I mean, to be just completely frank, the community was not quite big enough to fund like even one full-time developer. And the alternative was, years ago, I could have answered emails from venture capital investors about the same time that Astro took money to have the project run as a VC funded project. And as we saw with Gatsby, as we saw with Astro selling to Cloudflare, I do think the risk there is that when you run out of venture capital money, then your developers are either they're no longer being paid, or it's just free will contributions at that point. There are no full-time developers working on Gatsby project anymore. It's just part-time. I don't know what Astro's relationship is internally with Cloudflare, but if you aren't directly contributing to a company's bottom line, you are expendable. And that's the thing that I have learned shepherding this project over the 8 years that I've tried to make it my full-time job. So yeah, maybe that's a spicy take, but that's what I think. Sorry, I'm catching up now. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you very much. Everyone that sent me nice messages over the last week has really been so helpful to my mental health. I don't. It is a precarious situation to be in terms of like taking a lot of negative feedback, and so kind words are also just help buoy and I don't know, guard against some of the negative feedback as well. So yeah, I just appreciate everyone's nice kind words.
I think the fact that Eleventy is becoming build awesome is freaking awesome. Like, and the fact that you seem to have found a way to sustain the development is great. And the Kickstarter looked very cool. Even though I didn't understand the very, very end of it, I found it slightly disgusting video at the very end, but it was great. So like, I don't know, like y'all gotta find a way to make it sustainable. And so great job.
Yeah, Ben White
Yeah,
nails
I
it with the
appreciate it.
Tim and Eric vibes. Um, yeah.
Yeah, if I could, this is Bob. If I could chime in on a lot of us had angst about the name change, obviously, just
Yeah.
because, again, the brand equity question and all that. And I think yeah, it's something you said earlier, Zach. I mean, in the scheme of, if you look at the broad worldwide development of websites and all of the things that are out there. I mean, yet we have a very small niche of a niche of a niche community here. I mean, there are 38 people in this video. I mean, I think we have to deflate our own egos in terms of this is important to us individually, but in the scheme of the world and for Fun Awesome's customers, no wonder they were scratching their head about what's Eleventy. So I think it took me a while maybe about a week to get over the name change thing, but I'm over it. And as you saw in my for those of you that get the Eleventy bundle blog, I mean, I've already got ba bundle.dev, so I'm ready kind of when you're ready. But I think the name change and yeah, there's brand equity, but again, it's the brand equity among this community. It's not as big as we think it is in the scheme of things. So I just wanted to put that perspective out there.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Bob. I have thought many times over the years that I do not deserve how nice you are. And yeah, you have been just incredible. And yeah, I really appreciate just the entire community has been so great. I think there's just been a couple of like hard pieces of feedback to come in, but even like folks that were really invested and were kind of really taken off guard by the name change had constructive feedback. And that's all I can ask for, to just keep telling me what you think, and I can take that feedback and try and make the best decision for the project at large, and hopefully not at the expense of my mental health and family well-being.
Can I ask a
Oh, sorry.
question that's sort of vague?
Yeah.
Does the name change? Thanks for this. And sorry, side note, thank you for everything. I think this is just like a really great way to send everything off. Um, I think that the name change sort of like caught me just the way Bob was saying. And I think the question that it brought up for me was, what does this mean? Very selfishly, how does this affect me, basically? Which is, ridiculous. But I think that I have just, maybe along with everybody here, um, I really loved Eleventy for so many reasons. It feels like for so long that change is weird and hard. Broadly speaking, does anything about this, or can you share, or do you know, does the intended audience essentially for what used to be Eleventy, what is becoming Build Awesome, does that change in any particular way? In terms of like, if you can put it on a spectrum from one end, and there's no value judgment here in any way. On one end, you have personal projects and sites and tooling and all of that, all the way up to something else, or all the way on the other side, up or down. Um, if you could say like industrial strength, whatever. Because Eleventy is so flexible and is such an amazing tool that it can do so many things. I think it has really kind of sold itself, or become a tool that so many people love. That is the thing I think that I've been the most curious about, in terms of like we're moving into a new phase. I'll stop rambling, but that's essentially I think my biggest takeaway, other than you deserve the stability and everything that comes with what the goal of the Kickstarter is here, is well deserved. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there are sort of two different tiers of the project as I tried to communicate in the Kickstarter. I think the next Kickstarter will maybe have more refined messaging because we've gotten a lot of feedback about just questions that folks had about the Kickstarter and what it means. So Build Awesome will be Eleventy. It will be the CLI version that you run on your local machine. It will be focused on developers. It will be a developer tool, the same as Eleventy was. And Build Awesome Pro will be the sort of professional like site builder experience for folks to unlock a bunch of different features. And so we're maybe slow playing what those features might be just to gauge what is the best priority for those. But it is going to be in the same space as like a Squarespace or a Wix or a Ghost, in terms of you can make a website without any technical knowledge at all. And so that funding model around Pro will sustain and keep the open source project running, the developer version running moving forward. And so all that being said, like I think the biggest change for folks, again, is going to be the documentation is going to switch to prefer the Build Awesome name. And it will still be Eleventy, like under the hood, it's still going to be the Eleventy project. And it will still focus on the things that brought me to the web, personal websites, small websites. And I would love to keep that same vibe moving forward for the developer tool version of the project. So I'm going to try and keep the vibes as much the same as I can. And I guess the only way to prove that will be to stick around and watch it play out. And yeah, I guess that's the proof is going to be in the pudding. And I'm going to do my best to do right by y'all. I haven't read WWIC, so I don't know what that is. I'll have to read that later. So Build Awesome Pro will be for non-professionals. That will be, I think the line is going to be interesting there in terms of there will be two different kinds of folks that we're going to try and satisfy with the Pro project. And one is for developers to launch sites that are editable by non-technical editors and folks that want to create a website from scratch without any technical knowledge at all. So we're going to try and straddle that line on the Pro tier, but yeah, we're trying to build something that gets more people making websites with Build Awesome and with Eleventy moving forward. So if you have any room for a non-related question at the end, what are the 4 green lights in the corner? So those are smart bulbs. And maybe like people that have been following me for a very long time remember that I used those 4 lights to report Lighthouse score performance when I was doing the Eleventy leaderboards. So it would run a site, it would then send the performance color to the smart bulb behind me, and I could watch the performance of sites on the leaderboard come in live, which is I guess kind of silly, but that was a few years ago. So I don't know if that would be in my Twitter archive or on my website or what, but it's out there somewhere. I just don't remember where I posted that video.
I'm going to go off mic again. It's Bob. I'm
Hey, Bob.
curious. Did you say did Von Awesome approach you about this, or did you know those guys from the past, or what?
I mean, I knew of Font Awesome, of course. I think a lot of web developers did, but the CEO cold emailed me before I decided to join the company. I joined the company 18 months ago now, so I've been at the company for a while, and they have like sort of funded open source development on the project for the last 18 months. They've paid my paycheck for that.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of them attracting you and the fact that he cold emailed you, they're obviously seeing some opportunity in the future. I mean, Dave Gandy sounds like a really interesting guy. I mean, he's not very visible out there. There are a couple of interviews of him online, but he's, I think a lot of that place just is heads down doing great work. And it was just 20 some odd people. It's not a lot of people. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I think Font Awesome is a very unique company.
Yeah.
And one of the things I liked about the company was that the leadership was not chronically online. I think that is a problem that a lot of companies run into. And you can see that play out in terms of company leadership. And I flew down to Arkansas, where they're headquartered, and had basically a full, it was early morning till like 10 at night, hanging out with the two top brass at Font Awesome and just chatting about things and seeing what their vibe was. And they are just great people. And that has played out over and over and over again. And I have seen evidence of that over and over and over again. So I am very lucky to have found this company because they have just amazing people working there. And it's not just that they're amazing technically, they're just good people. And you can see, like, if you go back to some of the stuff on Podcast Awesome, their podcast, you can see that they have a history of not hiring like 10x engineers. They purposely do not want to hire 10x engineers. They don't like people that are just technical at the expense of everything else. And yeah, I can vouch for how I see that play out every day when I show up to work. So, I mean, even in how they're handling the email issues that we had on our mailing list, and I think maybe a lesser company might have canceled the Kickstarter altogether and saw that it maybe wasn't working, but they really dug in and they want to relaunch this thing with the proper audience that they think it can be. So they have believed in Eleventy since the beginning, and there are a lot of Eleventy and Build Awesome super fans moving forward. So yeah, I feel very lucky. So I'm happy to have found them. Yes, I believe that was my idea. The new Kickstarter name. But yeah, version 2, final.psd. And yeah, we're hoping to get that relaunched in the next month. So I know I've gone over by 20 minutes. Sorry for that. If folks have other questions, they can just DM me or you don't have to DM me. You can just send me a message on social media. It can be public. It's fine. And I'm happy to answer any questions that folks have. And I would not end this without just another huge thank you to Sia for running the meetup. And it has been a huge boon to the community. So I am just very appreciative of this meetup generally.